Hello fellow modelers, Bruce here. Well, I'm going to want to bridge this gap heading into the tunnel. I'm going to have an HON 30 little train traveling across it. So I'm going to need a bridge or a trestle or some combination thereof to accomplish that. And I'm going to have to check the vertical clearance here to see whether I need to add more foam to be able to allow the trains on the bottom level coming out of that tunnel to traverse underneath the bridge or trestle. So got some work cut out for me, and we'll continue on with this video as I ponder the solution. Talk to you soon. Well, I don't think I'm going to have to raise the ground on either side of that cut in order to get the clearance I need for the bridge. Just the thickness of the cork will do it. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be narrow gauge for the most part, locomotives and so forth. The largest, if I do put since it's going to be dual gauge trackage, if I put a standard grade gauge loco, it's not going to get much taller than John's little switcher there, so that should be plenty of clearance. I will try to reuse that king post bridge that I made for my last layout. And what I'm going to have to do is put some log bents on either side of that bridge to look like, I've put that in the middle of the span. And I'll show you a picture of the kind of bridge I'm talking about. I think the picture I'm going to show you has a queen post bridge, but you'll get the idea. And then in the background will be a couple of those oil wells, and of course the mountain will come down in there too. So yeah, the scene as I've pictured it in my head for 15 years is starting to come together. All right, continue the update later. Well, I'm waiting for some liquid nails for projects to dry on some foam that I glued in the area I'm working on. I thought I'd come over to the modeling bench and work on creating the two bents that I am going to need to support approaches to that king post bridge on either side that I showed you in the last segment of this video. So I went to the NMRA website, where they have in the members section data sheets for a heck of a lot of different structures, railroad structures and equipment and so forth. And they had the specifications for Rio Grande Southern bents for trestles. And they give you dimensions, they give you specifics, like they would not use poles or the verticals any taller than 20 feet max. 16 feet was more typical, and so forth. And then they give you all the correct terminology, the cap, the mud sill, the mid-sill, and so forth, and the dimensions of those were also there, and I printed those out on the back of the sheet. So with this in hand, I only need to make two. Now if I was going to make a longer trestle where I needed 7 or 8 or 10 of these, I would have built one, and then using that one as a pattern, created a jig to build the rest of them. But since I only need two, I'm going to do it right on the paper here, using my go-to for holding things in place while gluing, scotched double-sided, and then red there, I don't know if you can read it, it says permanent. And I've told you before, it's not really permanent, it's easy to lift things off of there. So I've cut everything. I decided to use slightly smaller timbers, which I think will still look fine there. So I have an 8 by 12 for the cap, which will go up here, and that's 14 feet long. I am using bamboo skewers, which measure a foot in diameter, for all the vertical poles, and then again for the mud sill, 8 by 12, 19 feet long. And I've cut the 4 verticals. I need 2 on each of the 2 bents, and then I have cut 1 extra of the poles that'll be at a slant over here and over here. And sway braces, they suggest that they use 3 by 10s or 3 by 14s. I made mine 3 by 10s, and they'll glue in place later. And I will now build these. I've put grain into all the wood using a fine razor saw, running back and forth. Took off all the fuzz with a little bit of wet dry, very fine paper. This has nothing to do with the creating the bent. It was what's left over of the skewer. I'm going to throw it in the stain as well, and put it with the rest of mine that I have for making evergreen trees. And that's it. So now into the alcohol and India ink bath for a while. I know that these bamboo poles are going to take the stain quite a bit differently than the basswood, but it is what it is. You can always touch it up a little bit afterwards. So I'll stain them, let those dry, and then build the 2 of them right here. And in the meantime, that liquid nails will be drying. I can get back to work on creating the mountains and so forth. All right, continue with the update later. Okay, this is the next day, and I am just about done making my 2 bents. Here's the first one complete. I just built it right in place on top of the drawing, and yeah, the color is satisfactory, and actually the bamboo skewers that are the vertical poles took the stain pretty consistent with the basswood, so it doesn't look bad at all. And this bent is all done on one side, and I just have to pry it up, and the second time you build something on the same double-sided tape, it makes it a lot easier to get it up. So I'm just going to put it in place here, and we have to put the second sway bar in here. Let's see. I can take just a smidge off the bottom of one of these here, and it will be fine. Let's see. Das ist gut. So what I will do is take a pencil, and on the bottom where you won't see it, make a line where the sway bar crosses each of the verticals, each of those poles, and that'll tell me where I have to put my glue above that line. And I will put a dab of Aleene's onto my glossy paper here. This is almost empty. Good to the last drop here. And now at the very end up here, above the line, above the line, and Wiping off a little bit of glue that came out. Easy enough to do it now. There you go. Okay, I'm just going to get a weight on that. Let it dry for a bit. And the two bents are now done. And I can go on to the next project. That's good. Alrighty. Talk to you again soon. Alrighty. Having built the two bents that I needed to go underneath the King Post Bridge, and the next thing I needed to do was measure how long I needed to make the approach to the bridge, the deck of the trestle leading from the ground to the bent that is going to support both the approach from both sides and the bridge itself. And that was about 9 feet. 9 feet would allow it to overlap the land, and the width of the King Post Bridge is 12 feet. So what you see here is two rectangles I've sketched on some paper, 12 feet this way, 9 feet this way. And I'm going to build these the same way I built the deck of the King Post Bridge. So I have up in this upper right corner various strip wood that I've cut to size, and these are 6x8s that are going to be right at the end of each end of this approach, little deck that I'm making. Put that in place. I have my usual double-sided permanent tape from Scotch in each corner down here, just enough to hold these in place while I build on top of them. And that's good. Do both of these simultaneously. They're small enough to just move from one to the other. I'm building right on top of a plan, whether it's a plan from that you photocopied from a kit or a plan that you've made for something you're scratch building is really the way to go. Alright, next I have supports, and these are 6x6s that are going to be glued this way, one on each end and one over each of those. And so I'll get my Aleen's out. This is really getting near the bottom of this this bottle, but boy, keeping it upside down in a jar is the way to go, because that tiny little bit of glue in the bottom, if you didn't have it upside down, you'd be shaking it and tapping the bottom and you name it to get the glue out. And this way it's very easy. Alright, so let's see here, let me just put this up against this side, push that in. Alrighty, it was more painful than it had to be, but those are looking good. Put the next one down. I stain these with my usual alcohol and India ink stain, made up of 91% alcohol, and in the 1 pint bottle putting 2 teaspoons of India ink. It's kind of my go-to. I have one that's a little bit lighter with just 1 teaspoon, and I have one that's darker with 3 teaspoons, but pretty much the go-to is the one with 2. And if you use the 91% alcohol instead of the 70%, A, it evaporates quicker, and B, less warpage. Not that you would get warpage on a 6x6, but you do get warpage if you put it onto sheeting. Well, I am, scribe siding is what I mean by sheeting. I am going to just finish gluing these up, and I'll come back and show you the results when I'm done. Talk to you again soon. Okay, the deck is done on one, and the subdecking, all the joists are done on the other. I wanted to stop here and show you something that I've mentioned before when you're putting decking on, and I think it was when I did that 70-year-old flat car just recently, and I said start from both sides and work toward the middle, and that way if you have to cut one, it's not on an end where it's going to be obvious. And sure enough, start from the left, start from the right, come in the middle. And if you look at this light one between these 2 dark ones, right there, I think you can see that I had to cut it, and it's narrower than the others around it. Let me point to it again. It's this light one right here by the tweezers. And cutting it is simple. You just take your razor blade and put it into the middle of one of these and slice it. So that one's done. This one will be done in a few minutes, and then I can try putting the entire bridge together. Alright, talk to you again soon. Well, I'm getting to the end of scratch building the king post trestle. Got one of the bents that I built in place and braced, and now I just have to glue the second one in place over here and put its braces on, which I've already cut and stained. So yeah, next time you see it, I'll have it just sitting in place on the layout so you can get an idea of what it's going to look like. So I was able to use this bridge, this king post bridge that I built from my old layout. I showed you in a separate video how I scratch built actually a second one, a little bit wider for standard gauge. This is going to be HON 30, and there's plenty of clearance for that train going over that trestle. So yeah, I'll see you again very soon with this just kind of sitting in place, test fitting it on the layout. See you then. Okay, here's the whole assembly in place, at least about where it's going to be. There's a little bit of airspace below the bottom of the vents, but yeah, I'll be able to take care of that when I install it permanently. And then, of course, there's going to be scenery elements all around it. But you get the idea there of the little trestle with the king post in the middle. And yeah, I think it'll look okay, especially with the scenery behind it. Alrighty, as always, if you enjoyed this little video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you've not already done so, please subscribe to my channel. Talk to you again soon.